And do the speed test now. The attack bows first, 60 pounds, 28-inch draw with a 300 grain light speed arrow. Here he goes. .303.9. I'll just zoom in to show you that one. There you go, 303.9. I'll just shoot another one. It's 304.4. And now we've got the Carnage bow, same poundage, 60 pounds exactly, set at 28, same arrow. And 312. Zoom in on that one again for you. I'll shoot another one to confirm that. .316 that time. Let me do a few shots and get an average on this. .313.9. 312.7. Well, that's quite a big increase in speed, much more than I was expecting. So I'm just going to double check the poundage and make sure the draw lengths are both exactly the same, just to make sure there's no false advantage with this bow that's being shown. Okay, I've got Dan here, he's going to help me measure the draw lengths on these bows. So if you can put a pen mark please down right level with the buttonhole on this bow. Thank you. This is the attack bow, exactly the same again. There it goes. Okay, thank you. After double checking the poundage, they're both most definitely set at 60 pounds exactly. We measured up the draw lengths precisely, and there is a slight difference. Labelled up this arrow here, the Carnage is 1/4 of an inch longer in draw length than the attack, so it has a small advantage, but best case 1/4 of an inch is only going to be about 2 feet per second. So even at that small advantage you can deduct those 2 feet per second, and the Carnage is noticeably faster than the attack, more so even than they claim to be on the catalogue. And it's very rare that they underestimate the advantages of a bow, but it does seem so in this case. Outside on the shooting range, I did a review on the attack, and this is what I'm comparing it against. See if I can notice any differences on how it feels or how it shoots. Here goes. Very quiet bow, no vibration that I can feel at all, so in that respect it's exactly the same. So as a comparison to the attack, it is a very similar style of bow, similar design, feels very similar, with a few minor differences. And the first one that I feel that is a minor difference is I can't feel the cable slider on this bow at all because it's a roller guard. On the attack I noticed a very small amount of friction when I drew it up. So the draw cycles of the bow feel the same, but this one has a slightly smoother draw cycle. Not through how it stores the energy when you draw it, but more noticeably that the friction is missing because of the slider. So it is smoother in that respect, and is a minor improvement over the attack. The sound is a little bit different. It feels tighter, if that's the word I can use. it's got a much more of a hum to it when you shoot it. It's as if the lightness of the cams is showing through into the sound of the bow. And let me do another shot for you. It's got a really tight thumb. I don't know. It's hard to describe it. Have a listen to this. A really tight, sharp hum with it, and I really like that. I want to mention that the cams are a smooth cam, but most certainly a hard cam style. And what I mean by that is that they don't feel really aggressive at full draw. They don't feel as if they want to drag you forward, or if you creep forward a little bit, they're not going to suddenly pull your shoulders out of the sockets. So it's a smooth cam, but most certainly a hard cam. It does have a hard draw cycle, but a lot better than most that I've felt. And we know that the bow is faster. I mean, we've tested the speeds of these bows, and they're noticeably faster. But I can't tell it when I'm shooting it. If I didn't have an arrow meter, I wouldn't have thought it would be a faster bow. And that's purely because the draw cycle feels the same as on the attack. It's this lightness of cams that has to be it that's causing that extra speed. So if you was to shoot both of the bows with your eyes closed, you wouldn't perceive one to be being faster than the other. I'm going to do some shooting now to show you the action of the bow when I shoot it. I'm not one for having the bow set up to be absolutely dead in the hand. I do want to have a bit of dynamic action with the bow after the shot. And this doesn't happen before the arrow is left. The arrow is long gone. I like to set it up so I can have a bit of feedback from how the bow acts after I've shot it. And so I've set it up with a longer stabiliser here, and you'll see it just drop forward after the shot, but not fastly so. It's a really well balanced bow. See if you can see what I'm talking about. You see what I mean there is that the bow doesn't aggressively drop forward, it doesn't kick back either. Get a nice balance, and just after the shot the bow drops forward and away from you. There's a really good feel to the bow when you shoot it. I just want to mention a little bit about the string angle, which is one of the more noticeable aspects of this bow. And as someone coming from a target archery or field archery background, I'm not really used to shooting very small axle to axle length bows, mainly because the reference point is the tip of my nose. I like to feel the tip of my nose on the string. It's quite a sensitive reference point to have, and I've grown up doing that. And with the attack, one of the concerns I had is it felt as if I was having to bend my head forward a little bit to get the tip of my nose on the string. With this bow, it doesn't feel as if I have to do that. And what I want to demonstrate here is that the angle of the string with my normal ankle point does now come into position on my face quite nicely. Let's show you that. So I can get the string reference on my nose without having to feel as if I'm having to push my head forward, which I did a little bit on the attack. And it might not be a significant thing for a lot of people, but I've always learned to shoot with the nose on the string, and although I could learn not to do that, I don't want to learn not to do that. I want to continue to shoot with a technique that's been ground into me over all these years, and I can achieve it with this length of bow. This is really my lower limit of being able to do that. So it's something to consider there as well. If you like to have the tip of your nose on the string, this is going to be a more comfortable bow, and from that perspective, this is more comfortable to shoot than the attack bow. Now, to sum up the Carnage, is it a better bow than the attack? I have to say, yes, it is. And it comes down to only 2 or 3 reasons. And the first one is the extra arrow speed. And I'm pleased to see that they didn't just trick their way to this extra arrow speed. And what I mean by that is that they didn't just make the cams harder to draw, nor did they lower the brace height. Both of those methods are easy ways to get extra arrow speed, but always compromise the shootability. They haven't done that. They've got extra arrow speed, just it seems, by adding a roller guard, but more so that they made the cams lighter. So that is all benefit. In fact, we've got a longer bow with lighter mass weight, a larger brace height, and more arrow speed. There is no downside to that whatsoever. So that's the main advantage from the start. The other smaller advantages, such as the cable guard and the longer length, which I feel makes it a more comfortable bow to shoot, are minor advantages that, added together, couple that with the extra speed, do make an overall bow a more notably better bow than maybe just any one of those features taken by itself. It could well be that the attack bow is still the one for you. For example, if you're struggling with your shooting somewhat, just buying a Carnage is not going to change that. Maybe spend the extra money on a bit of coaching, or there are other places you can spend your money on to improve your shooting rather than just getting a bow that's a little bit faster. But if you're shooting well and you are looking for a new bow, then extra arrow speed for no compromise only has to be an advantage. If you're shooting in a stiff crosswind or unmarked distances where you might make a mistake on the judgment of the distance, then they will equate to extra points. So really, I can't suggest whether this bow is worth the extra money or not. That's only something you can decide, but it is the best bow that Bear have made to date, and I highly recommend this product. Now, I've shot, sold and set up a lot of different types of speed bows over the years, and I have to admit to this one being my new favourite. As a 3D field bow, absolutely no-brainer, really very, very good bow for that type of shooting. It's going to cross over, no doubt, into the target side as well, and for the style of bow, it's one of the most suitable target shooting bows that you can find. There are obviously large differences between this style of bow compared directly to a dedicated target bow, and for the style of bow, it's an excellent example of how it should be done. Look at that, straight through the side leg into the back post, just because I couldn't be bothered to start close and gradually walk back. Serves myself right. I'm going to have a right job getting that out. I have to get a hammer and chisel, I think. Probably ruined my arrow.